My 2026 review on the Wright Stander X. Let's jump into it. Just some little bit of specs. This is a 48-inch Wright Stander X with the FX 730V Kawasaki engine. This thing is about to cross 400 hours. It has 386 hours on it. And I've had this unit for roughly 3 years. A couple side note attachments that I'll talk about at the end of this video. I have installed a trimmer rack and a grass flap onto this unit. I won't talk about it in the overall review of the mower, but these are the two additive things that I've added to it. I'll talk about it at the end of the video. All right, let's start off with the good things that I love about this mower. This mower can be defined by one word: versatility. Because of the 48-inch deck size, you're going to fit into most backyards. And because it's a little bit bigger than the 36, you're going to have a lot more power to be able to get through wet yards or overgrown yards. Haven't run into any power issues unless it's been a mound of leaves that's over a foot. So if you're mowing mounds of leaves over a foot, you might need to upgrade your engine. But other than that, this thing's been able to get through anything, no problem. For gas capacity, I get roughly around a week's worth of work in this thing. I mow about 40 to 50 yards a week, so you're gonna get around that for, I can't remember what size tank this is, but I'll put it right here. Anyway, good gas capacity. The frame and everything and the belt system have been built perfectly. This is still the original belt on the machine, all the original pulleys, and deck's been great. This is the original pad, so nothing's busted or torn. Another thing I really love about this mower, which not all mowers have, is there's two tie points in the back, as well as two tie down points in the front, making either dragging stuff or tying it down to a trailer super easy, and it makes it really secure if I'm moving it far distances or if I need to pull something for the front or the back. This thing also has a variable height adjust system, which means I can adjust it without having to move the pin on each height level, even if I don't have the pin set to it. So that means I don't have to adjust this every single time I want to move it, and I can just leave it at whatever height I want. This mower is also equipped with a cool rubber stripe kit that not every mower has, which means that under here, there's a flap that can lay down the grass blades, giving you a better stripe, which does work. You can also move it down or up, depending on how long you want this thing to last. Mine's on its last leg and needs to be replaced, but after 3 years, I think I can slap a new one of these on and be just fine. Now for blade changing, this thing's super easy. No need to go from the top. You just unscrew these bolts. I know on the ZK, the Gen 2s especially, you had to go from the top. This one is just the bottom one. You just unscrew it from here and take out the blades easy. This machine also comes with a set of, I don't know what you call them, buffer wheels on the front or in the back, 2 in the front. That wraps up about everything good I have to say. Now to the negatives, which there are a couple with this machine. All right, jumping in at the #1 slot. I had a weird fluke thing happen to me when I was mowing one yard. All 3 of these lug nuts worked themselves loose, causing the tire to cavitate, and it destroyed the wheel mounting bracket that goes on this wheel. Now, I've actually had 2 other people say this about the Wrights. I think one was a ZK and the other was, I can't remember if it was an LG or an I. Anyway, their lug nuts have worked loose, destroyed again that wheel hub or that wheel mount. Anyway, what I ended up having to do is replace the entire rim, replace the wheel mounting system, and that was 1, costly, and 2, a very hard repair to do, because you have to, in order to get the wheel hub off, you have to heat it up and then hit it with a sledgehammer to get that thing to pop off. So pretty costly repair. The mechanic said is that because these rims are painted, when that little bit of paint wears around the bolts, it sometimes can loosen the lug nuts. So when you go and purchase a mower, make sure after the first couple hours, you go ahead and check the pounds per inch on your lug nuts to make sure it's tight and the wheel doesn't eventually come off. Now, it took 3 years for mine to do it, but it could do it at any time to yours. So make sure you're watching out for that. Coming up to the parking brake, I have had 2 issues with the parking brake so far in the 3 years of owning this machine. One, it really likes to slip loose about once a year. I don't know if that's a maintenance thing, but it is kind of annoying when you load it up on the trailer and that thing rolls all the way to the back. So in order to tighten it, it's pretty simple, which I do like about the parking brake, is all you have to do is loosen those two nuts there, slide it up or down where they need to loosen or tighten it, and you're good to go. So very easy on maintenance for the parking brake, but this thing does work loose from time to time. And probably the number one most annoying thing that I've run into is there is this nut right here, which holds this parking brake somehow together. This nut and bolt have worked loose about 3 times and has popped completely off. Well, when that happens, the sensor that keeps the manual sensor that keeps these from gets stuck. So what you end up having to do is push this down to be able to open this manual lock here, to be able to then drive your mower either onto the trailer or whatever. And it's because this thing pops out of place, that bolt right there. So I don't know if there's a way to Loctite this to be able to make it more secure, but I have had it pop off, like I said, about 3 times. I lost the bolts twice, and it's just a pain when you're trying to get through your route and you can't move your controls. Another negative I have about this mower is in order to check the hydraulic oil for the unit, the looking glass is to the side of the unit. So what I ended up having to do is buy a small mirror, and yes, it was pink. Yes, I don't care, to look and check the level for oil. So just note that if you're changing your oil, in order to check the level, you either have to put a zip tie on the top of this, or you have to get a mirror to look to this port on the side. Other than that, now my final complaint about this mower is the placement of this fuel shut-off switch. Either when I'm using my trimmer rack or just in general, sometimes it gets bumped. Sometimes this thing gets bumped and it flips to the off position. That means your mower will shut off randomly and you'll be freaking out panicked because you think you've messed something up. When really, it's just bad placement on where this fuel gauge is. I don't know if that's because there was nowhere else to put it, but if it was even mounted right here or something like that to where it's still accessible, but not accessible when you accidentally push it down. So I would like to move again. If I were to do it all over again, I'd still buy the same exact mower. I love the power, cut quality, all that kind of stuff with this machine. Couple little small things that could be improved, but nothing that is a make or break on this mower. You will not be disappointed picking up a Wright Standard X. And without further ado, I've got a grass flap and the Wright trimmer holder. Quick review on the Wright trimmer holder. Great if you have wide open properties. I don't use it as much as I thought I would. It might just be preference. Still use it quite a bit. It's nice if you have 2 people and you see, oh, my trimmer man missed a spot. The metal on here can be thin, so if you hit someone with it, it's very easy to bend it, as you can see here. But it's always easy to bend it back out and just reuse it. This is the original one that I bought with the mower 3 years ago, so it's held up fairly decently. But I will say it does bend quite often when you're hitting stuff. As for grass flap, that is a video all to itself, but can't recommend enough a grass flap to keep the side discharge from flying into windows or whatever. This is the best one on the market. Pick up your grass flap. Make sure you have it installed on every single one of your units, no matter what brand, make, or model it is. Another small attachment that I have, this is a little hook thing that attaches like a buggy, or I have an aerator that can attach here. Is it the best to be pulling it from the platform? No, but it is a lot cheaper option. The other option runs across here. It was about 500 bucks. This was only 20. So you can fit the pin through it. So on your aerators, you can be able to fit that through and have a pull behind aerator so you don't always have to rent a push behind one. Without further ado, stay safe, stay tuned, stay unbroken.